Let's get one thing straight. Free speech in America is not under threat from just one side anymore. And if you still think this is a simple left versus right issue, you're already behind. Because in today's United States, everyone says they support free speech, until speech becomes inconvenient. And that's the problem. The old story is dead for years. The narrative was simple. The right said, defend free speech. The left said, speech needs limits. That story no longer fits reality. Today, people are being silenced not just by governments, but by platforms, employers, universities, online mobs, algorithms no one can see, and none of these actors are bound by the First Amendment in the way most Americans think they are. So when people say, free speech is protected, the real question is, protected from whom? The left's speech problem. Let's start with the left. Historically, the left relied on free speech to challenge power, civil rights, labor movements, anti-war protests. But something changed. In many progressive spaces today, speech is no longer seen as a right, it's seen as a risk. The logic goes like this: words can cause harm. Harm must be prevented. Therefore, some speech must be controlled. That logic sounds reasonable, until you ask one question: who decides what counts as harm? On campuses, speakers are disinvited. Journalists self-censor. Academics avoid certain topics altogether. Not because they're illegal, but because the cost of speaking is too high. This has created a quiet panic inside liberal America. People who once believed deeply in free expression are now afraid to say so out loud. The right's free speech hypocrisy. Now let's talk about the right. Conservatives are absolutely correct about one thing: many cultural institutions, media, tech, universities, lean against them. But here's the uncomfortable part. When conservatives gain political power, their commitment to free speech suddenly comes with conditions. Classroom speech is restricted. Certain topics become off-limits. Corporations are pressured to toe ideological lines. So free speech becomes a principle, only when it benefits your side. That's not free speech. That's leverage. The platform problem. No one elected. Here's where things get really dangerous. The most powerful speech regulators in America are not politicians. They are tech platforms. A handful of companies decide what gets amplified, what gets buried, what gets labeled, what quietly disappears. No vote. No transparency. No appeal that actually matters. This isn't government censorship. It's something harder to fight. Because when your post doesn't reach anyone, you weren't banned. You were just erased. Soft censorship is still censorship. America rarely jails people for speech. Instead, it uses something more effective: consequences. Say the wrong thing and you might lose your job, lose your reputation, lose access to platforms, lose professional credibility. Technically, you're free to speak, but practically, you've been warned. This is what people mean by soft censorship, and it works precisely because it's deniable. Why young Americans are torn. Younger Americans are caught in the middle. They've grown up watching online harassment, misinformation, and radicalization explode in real time. So they're more open to speech limits. But here's the contradiction: they also trust institutions less than any generation in modern history. They don't trust the government. They don't trust media. They don't trust corporations. They don't trust universities. So who exactly do they want regulating speech? That tension is explosive and unresolved. This was never about speech. Here's the truth most debates avoid. This isn't really about speech. It's about power. Who gets to define reality? Who gets to label ideas as dangerous? Who gets to decide what you're allowed to question? When trust collapses, every rule feels like control. And that's why free speech is now breaking down on both the left and the right. Where this is headed if nothing changes, here's what comes next: more censorship, justified as safety. More retaliation, justified as fairness. More ideological bubbles, where people never hear opposing views at all. Not authoritarianism overnight. Something slower. Something quieter. Something harder to reverse. Final thought: free speech in America isn't disappearing. It's being redefined by people who don't trust each other, inside systems no one voted for, under rules no one fully understands. And that should concern you, no matter which side you're on.